Dang it. I was so close to 2 this time. One of these days, YouTube. One of these days. Welcome back. If you haven't seen my videos before, I'm Ross the Oliver Man. And I'm wondering if there is a word in English that means doing something consistently wrong, but it works anyway. I suppose in German it would be Ich habe einen Fehler gemacht. I made a mistake. But let's see if the old internet box here. What's the word for making a mistake, but it works anyway? Okay. Let's just take a look here, see. Well, this looks super smart here. Macmillan Dictionary. Mess up, to make mistake or do something badly. I did that. Blunder, to make a careless or embarrassing mistake. It wasn't really careless because I did it on purpose, but embarrassing, yeah, because it was on camera. Slip up, to make a careless mistake. That's getting close. To make a mistake, especially in a judgment, not really. Let down, that's what all my teachers always said, let down. That's not it in this case. Miss, to fail, hit, reach something you aim at, kind of. Trip up, foul up, fall short, stumble, more synonyms. Be miles off. Blunder, to move or progress in a careless way, making or creating problems as you go. That's like the mission statement of this channel, I think. Botch, yeah, I did that very badly, but not carelessly. Bugger up, bungle, burn your fingers. Hey, there we go. Yes, okay. Up. To spoil something by doing it wrongly. That's what I have done. Okay, now to understand what it is that I did wrong, we have to go back in time and look at the 1755 video where I was adjusting that throttle. So here you go for a little refresher back in time. A side field trip here, because while we were doing that, I noticed that the throttle would not stay. And people always ask about what you can do on these to tighten up the throttle, and your answer is right here. Well, you can't really see that because of the rods, but there you go. There is a screw that you can turn in, and it will increase the resistance on this lever, and then it will make it stay when you pull it on the dash. Okay, so after doing that, not thinking anything of it because I've done it hundreds of times before, it seems like that's always the way that I've stopped the drifting throttle problem, is turning that screw in. I must have learned that from some old Oliver mechanic along the way, and I never really questioned it because it worked. I always thought that was kind of a stupid design to go away from like the 50 series where you tightened up against like a cone so that it actually did something. And I thought, well, maybe they just thought they'd save money, and, you know, it seemed like it worked. So I never questioned it. It was, you know, tightening a bolt against that arm, and I thought, whatever, you know, maybe they figured out a simple way to do it. But after doing that video, that Oliver guy messaged me and he said, I've never seen that style of throttle adjustment before. And I said, what do you mean? I said, I've always done it that way. And he said, well, he said, I'm pretty sure that my 1955 doesn't have that screw on it. And so that got us to looking to see what was what, because I said, I'm almost positive my 1855 has it because I've done it on there. And he said, well, on the ones I've got, it's got that cone just like on the 50 series inside that arm, and you tighten the nut down and everything's fine. So I looked in the parts books. There's no mention of this screw anywhere. Looked in the service books. No mention of this screw that I tightened. look in the parts books and you see that it's got a tapered cone and the arm and a bolt and nothing else. I mean, it doesn't make the mention of that anywhere. So I thought, well, now this makes no sense because I didn't just dream this up. I mean, I've been doing it all this time and it's always worked except on this last tractor that I did it on. So we got to looking and I finally found mention of it in the operators books. And I've got a whole slew of operators books for about everything they ever made. And I've got some in multiples of different years. And I finally found mention of it, and I will put pictures in here of the way it's worded. And basically what that is, it is a bumper stop for that arm. Now, when you think about that, to me, that really makes not much sense of why you would need that, especially on a diesel, because on the diesel, you have spring-loaded over center linkage and then stops on each side. So if you go too far forward or too far back, this is going to break away like this, and it's not going to bend any linkage or anything. You know, it'll take care of it up there. I guess on a gas tractor, maybe it's more important, but, you know, it's obvious that if they intended it for one and not the other, they put it on both because it saved them from having a separate dash for just a gas tractor or a diesel tractor. But it really seems like overkill to me. So anyway, it just blows my mind that I've been doing it this other way all these years and I've never had issue. It worked, so I never questioned it, you know. And the throttle is something that I've never really had trouble with, you know, having to tear it down any farther because, like I said, it always fixed it just doing it with that screw, you know. And I guess the reason that it worked is it was just creating enough drag that it wasn't letting it go back down. And in the book, it actually says the correct way to adjust the screw is with it at high idle. So I guess maybe it makes its most contact at high idle, and that's why it's been working for me. But anyway, I could not let that go because it didn't fix it on the other tractor. So I actually went back and fixed it the correct way, and I will show you that video now. Well, we're going to do some quick warranty work here and unscrew up what I did wrong, which is still amazing to me because I've done it the same way all these years. And it's always worked until now. So, you're always learning new things. Don't ever think that you've learned all you can learn, because sometimes you just don't think about things. Especially if they've never been a problem really before. And that is a good example of this. Throttle linkages on these have never really been a problem. All right, so we're going to back out that screw and we're going to start over on that. And hopefully I can get there to tighten that nut. And if not, okay, come on. I'm going to have to take it all the way out, I think, to break that loose. I wonder if I'll be able to get in there and do that. There we go. Now, we got lines in the way. So we're going to shove this up. Now, here's why I think that this is overkill of design. Because if that is really intended to stop something from moving, like travel-wise, you just don't need it. Because you have stop bolts on the injection pump, and it's spring-loaded. So like when it goes too far past, now you see it's into the spring, and it's not going to bend anything. I could see on the gas tractor where when it's against the carburetor, maybe it's against something solid and it doesn't have that breakaway feature, but I still don't get why this exists if, you know, That's why I always thought that was how you did it. And it made sense. So we will get a wrench to tighten this nut and see if we can make it grab this a little bit better. But we'll see what size that is. I don't know. There we go. Now I'm very nervous because I do not want to twist this off. But I think that's enough. That's actually too much. And that's going to be our problem. It's going to be just loose enough that it's not going to hold. Boy, that's stout, isn't it? The sweet spot is the problem. It's going to be... Let's see what that is. She's got some drag on her now, boys. Okay, come on. See, we just can't win on stuff. That nut is not tight there at all. And I don't like that. I want it to be. Let's back this off of there. I mean, I got it in. Well, that definitely fixed the drifting problem, I can tell you that now. But she is stout. Now, in the wide open position, the book says, you're supposed to screw this in until you hit the stop. We don't know really where that's going to be. Feels like it's there. Let's go with that. That's about probably where it was before I jacked with it. Let's give her a start and see if the vibration is going to loosen this up again. It probably won't do it until it sits there for a while and vibrates, but we'll give it a try anyway. Yeah, that's much more better. It'll hold now where it's at. I'm just wondering if that nut is really going to stay. And I'm wondering if, in fact, that is the original nut and it didn't vibrate off at some point and it's been replaced with that. And maybe it's supposed to have like a side lock nut on it. I don't know, but it's better now the way it should be. So we're going to leave it at that. that'll be much more handy to run an auger with if the throttle stays where you put it. So the moral of the story is, I'm not really sure whether I'm moron or dummy in this particular episode. If you remember my two characters from way back when, I think that I'm probably a little bit of both. I mean, I feel awfully stupid because I did this on camera and it's out there forever for everyone to see. But anyway, it also proves the fact that no matter how long you've been working on stuff, you still learn things about these tractors every time you do it. Especially when you can confer to other people who have actually done the same type of work and seen the same, quantity of tractors over the year, not just, I don't know, it's hard to say. When you've worked on them in a setting where you work on a bunch of them, you get to see more stuff than if you just own one tractor, So it's fun to be able to compare and contrast experiences and stuff like that so that we see, what we've been doing wrong. But I definitely have been doing that wrong, but it's been working. So is it really stupid? I don't know. It's been working. So, but that's the way that is. So I suppose that we will call that the end of this video. And hopefully next time we do something the correct way the first time, and we don't have to make a second video unscrewing up the things that unscrewing up the things that we messed up in the first video. I'm just double checking here because it's got me curious whether this screw's been in all of them. It is in the 1755, but that makes sense because it is a 71. The 1855 is a 72. My 1955 is a 73. So I'm going to go look at the 1955 and the 4180 and see whether it's got that same setup in it. I don't think we're going to see it on the 4180, which is unfortunate because it actually needs adjusted. If you remember from that video where we had the gas tank out or fuel tank out. So I don't know. That's gonna be a real joy of joys, I'm sure. There it is. There it is. Well, it would be the inner one. So does the inner one have a... No, it doesn't. But here it is right here, I bet. I bet this nut right here on the 4180 is the nut, and inside here is that conical thing just like on all the others, I bet you. So we'll have to look at the parts book on this one because it's a different bird, but I'd say that's our fix there. That even kind of looks like a nylon lock nut, so I bet that is what we want. Let's go look at the 1955. Yes, it does. They all have that, so they must have thought that was an important enough feature to keep putting it in. But I don't know about the later tractors with the newer style dash. As we recall, these dashes are different on the later tractors because the lid's different. The bolts are actually they attach in this piece instead of in the lid because they changed the way they welded the plate to the lid instead of in here. Like I talked about in that other video, I know why they did that, because on these it's hard to pull the fuel tank out when the ridges on the side of the tank hit that plate. So I'm sure that's probably why they did it, just to make it easier. But I'm wondering if they did away with that stop bolt on the later ones. We'll have to check. So here I'll go ahead and throw in a picture that Oliver guy, Chris Losey, sent me of his 1955, which has the newer style dash. And you can see that it does in fact have that bumper stop screw on it still. It would be interesting to see if they continued that into the 2105. I don't know why they would have discontinued it if they had it that long, but like I said, it's strange. I don't really understand what its real purpose is. I don't know why you have to have it, because it seems like overkill, but hey, it's been working for something it wasn't intended for, so that's fine too. Well, as always, it amazes me that people are watching these videos, especially when I mess it all up. But if you like it, go ahead and hit a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already so you don't miss my next screw up. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.